Welcome back to Wisdomloom English. Today, we are opening our hearts to one question that almost everyone asks at some point in life. What is true love? Not the love shown in movies, not the love written in old poems. The real love. The love that actually stays when life gets hard. So many people say, "I love you," but very few people actually know what those three words are supposed to mean. Real love is not measured in sweet messages. Real love is measured in behavior, in patience, in honesty, and in the quiet moments when nobody else is watching. Love is one of the most powerful emotions a human being can feel, but it is also one of the most misunderstood. Some people believe love means possession. Some people believe love means jealousy. Some people believe love means staying quiet even when their heart is breaking inside. But that is not love. That is pain wearing the mask of love. True love never crushes you. True love never makes you feel invisible. True love never fills your days with fear and doubt. Instead, true love makes you feel calm, respected, valued, and free. In today's lesson, we will explore the real signs of true love, one by one. And while we explore this beautiful topic, you will also be practicing your English. Pay attention to the sentences, absorb the new vocabulary, and repeat the powerful lines along with me. If you love learning English through meaningful, real-life topics like this one, make sure you subscribe to Wisdomloom English, because we bring you lessons like this every single week. Let's begin with the foundation. What actually is love? Love is not a temporary feeling that appears and disappears. Love is a daily decision. Love is the way a person treats you on your worst day, not just your best day. Love is choosing respect during a disagreement instead of choosing to win. Love is choosing honesty even when a lie would be far more comfortable. Love is staying patient when emotions are running high. Love is showing up for someone even when nobody is there to see it. Love is not only saying, "I think about you all the time." Love is proving, "I show up for you every time." Love is not only saying, "You mean the world to me." Love is treating that person as if they truly do. True love brings peace, not panic. True love brings confidence, not chaos. True love brings clarity, not confusion. It helps two people grow together, heal together, and become their best selves side by side. Real love never asks you to erase who you are. Real love asks you to become more fully yourself, beside someone who cherishes that person. This is exactly where confusion begins for so many people. Somewhere along the way, society taught us that love should feel dramatic, that love should hurt sometimes to prove it is real, that jealousy is a compliment, and that pain is simply part of the deal. But none of that is true love. That is trauma wearing a romantic costume. Real love does not require suffering to prove its depth. Real love proves itself through steadiness, through the quiet, unglamorous moments. A kind word after a long day, a patient ear during a small crisis, a hand held a little tighter during uncertainty. These moments rarely make it into movies, yet they are the very moments that define whether love is genuine or simply an illusion. There is also a difference between loving someone and loving the idea of someone. Many people fall in love with potential, who a person could become, who they promised to be, who they seem to be in the very beginning. But true love is loving the person exactly as they are today, flaws included, while still choosing to grow alongside them. It is loving someone in their ordinary Tuesday afternoon, not only in their most polished, curated moments. You will notice something interesting as we go through today's lesson. None of the signs we cover will sound loud, dramatic, or cinematic. There will be no grand gestures involving fireworks or expensive surprises. Real love rarely announces itself with a spectacle. It shows up quietly, in ordinary conversations, in small choices repeated over months and years. So if you are hoping to measure your own relationships honestly, listen for the quiet signs, not only the loud ones, because the quiet signs are almost always the truest ones. Stay with me, because this next part is where things get really important. Sign 1. True love sets you free. The very first sign of true love is freedom. This might sound surprising to some of you, but it is one of the deepest truths about real love. So many people confuse love with control. They believe that if someone truly loves them, that person should approve every decision they make. They should agree with every opinion. They should shrink themselves to fit someone else's comfort. They should live inside someone else's rules. But that is not love. That is a cage disguised as affection. True love does not lock a person inside four walls of expectation. True love opens the door and says, "Go, grow, explore who you are meant to become." It offers room to breathe, room to think independently, room to dream, and room to simply be yourself without apology. Love is never about owning a person like property. Love is about honoring a person like a partner. When love is genuine, you do not feel the need to track every move the other person makes. You trust them. You honor their individuality. You allow them their own passions, their own friendships, and their own path in life. This does not mean a relationship has no boundaries at all. Freedom inside love is not the same as recklessness. Freedom inside love simply means two people respect one another enough that control is never necessary. For instance, someone who genuinely loves you will never resent your ambition. They will never guilt you for wanting personal space. They will never demand that you transform into someone else purely to keep them satisfied. They understand, deeply, that you are a full human being with your own soul, not an object to be managed. True love whispers, "I want to watch you rise. I want you to become the strongest version of yourself. I trust the choices you make, because I trust you." That kind of love feels light. You are not constantly glancing over your shoulder. You are not performing a role just to avoid conflict. You are not hiding pieces of your personality out of fear. You feel free to speak your truth. You feel free to be flawed. You feel free to simply exist as you are. That, my friend, is real freedom, and freedom is what makes love last. Because love built on force eventually collapses under its own weight. Love built on manipulation becomes exhausting for both people. But love built on freedom becomes a source of peace. So remember this lesson well. If a person truly loves you, they will never attempt to steer every part of your existence. They will celebrate your individuality. They will champion your growth. They will trust the direction of your heart. True love is not a prison with pretty decorations. True love is freedom, wrapped in respect. Think about this for a moment. A bird that is caged might sit beside you, but it never truly chooses you. It simply has no other option. But a bird that is free and still chooses to return to you every single day, that is something entirely different. That is devotion built on choice, not confinement. This is exactly what freedom does inside love. It turns a relationship from an obligation into a genuine decision, made fresh every single day. Some people mistake this freedom for distance, but the two are completely different things. Freedom in love does not mean two people live separate lives with no connection. It means two people remain individuals, with their own thoughts, their own friendships, and their own passions, while still choosing togetherness. A tree does not stop being part of the forest just because it has its own roots. In the same way, you do not stop being someone's partner just because you also remain fully yourself. A helpful way to test this in your own life is to notice how you feel right after spending time apart from someone you love. If freedom is healthy, you return feeling refreshed, and you are excited to share what you experienced while you were apart. But if freedom has quietly turned into neglect or distance, you return feeling disconnected, as though nothing was truly shared at all. True freedom in love always circles back to connection. It never drifts away permanently. Sign 2. A healthy fear of losing you. Our second sign is a little more delicate, so listen closely. Fearing the loss of someone can absolutely be a sign of love, but only when that fear stays healthy. This distinction matters enormously. When a person genuinely loves you, they recognize your worth. They do not want you to walk away. They feel your presence as something precious in their life. They understand, clearly, that losing you would leave a painful void. But genuine love never twists that fear into control. Genuine love transforms that fear into better behavior. There is an enormous difference between these two outcomes. Unhealthy fear says, "I might lose you, so I will restrict you." Healthy love says, "I might lose you, so I will treat you far better." Unhealthy fear produces jealousy, suspicion, anger, and constant pressure. Healthy love produces respect, effort, transparency, and genuine care. If a person's love for you is real, they will never take your presence for granted. They will never mistreat you while assuming you will remain forever. They will never dismiss your emotions repeatedly and expect silence in return. They will never wound you while insisting, "You could never leave me anyway." Real love knows better than that. Real love understands that people do not stay where they are undervalued. So real love puts in the work. It listens carefully. It apologizes sincerely. It grows intentionally. It protects the connection before it ever reaches a breaking point. Someone who genuinely fears losing you will think twice before hurting you. They will pause to consider your feelings before reacting. They will never force you to fight for basic respect. They will never toy with your emotions for entertainment. They will never vanish and reappear on their own schedule, expecting you to simply accept it. They show up consistently because they understand love is not merely a feeling. Love is also a responsibility. If someone claims "I love you," yet never comforts you during pain, that is not true love. If someone insists "I could never lose you," while continuously breaking your trust, that is not true love either. Words are effortless. Actions reveal the truth. A healthy fear of loss makes a person gentler. It makes them more honest, more attentive, more loyal, and more grateful for what they have. It reminds them, "This person matters. I will not destroy something this valuable through carelessness or ego." Yet remember one crucial point. Love should never trap you in constant anxiety. You should not live in perpetual worry that someone will disappear. You should not feel unsafe every single day. You should not feel like you must constantly prove your worth just to be kept around. True love offers stability. True love offers calm. True love makes you feel chosen, not confused. So yes, real love may carry a quiet fear of loss, but that fear should always translate into greater care, never greater control. It should build honesty, never manipulation. It should build respect, never fear. Think about the difference between a gardener and a thief. A thief fears losing something, so they grip it tightly, hide it away, and trust no one near it. A gardener also fears losing something precious, but they respond by watering it, giving it sunlight, and creating the right conditions for it to flourish. Genuine love behaves like the gardener, not the thief. It does not grip out of panic. It nurtures out of devotion. It understands that the tighter you squeeze something delicate, the faster it slips through your fingers, while the more freedom and care you give it, the deeper its roots grow. This is why healthy fear and unhealthy fear produce completely opposite relationships. One produces a partnership full of suspicion, arguments, and constant testing. The other produces a partnership full of warmth, small gestures of appreciation, and a quiet sense of security that neither person has to fight to maintain. If you notice that fear in a relationship is producing more restrictions than kindness, that is a signal worth paying close attention to. There is also a simple question you can ask yourself here. When your partner feels afraid of losing you, does that fear make them softer, or does it make them sharper? Does it inspire them to apologize sooner, or does it push them to accuse you of things you never did? Does it make them cherish the little moments, or does it turn every small disagreement into an interrogation? The answer to that question tells you almost everything you need to know about whether the fear inside that love is healthy or harmful. Sign 3. True love guards your heart. Our third sign is protection. True love guards your heart, and this is one of the most vital signs of real love, because love is never only about emotion, it is also about responsibility. When someone loves you sincerely, they understand your heart is not something to gamble with. Your feelings are not entertainment. Your trust is not a toy. Your emotions are not disposable. Genuine love handles your heart with care. It does not manufacture pain for amusement. It does not repeatedly wound you and then pretend nothing happened. It does not hurt you and then accuse you of being overly sensitive. It does not shatter your trust and later blame you for feeling broken. Real love carries this understanding. If I truly love this person, I must be gentle with their heart. This does not mean genuine love is flawless or conflict-free. Every relationship experiences misunderstanding. Every human makes mistakes. Sometimes disagreements arise. Sometimes emotions run heavy. Sometimes the wrong words slip out. But inside true love, even amid difficulty, there remains care. There remains respect. There remains a genuine desire to understand, rather than to wound, and to repair, rather than to destroy. A person who loves you authentically will never weaponize your vulnerability. If you confide your pain, they will not mock it. If you share your fears, they will not exploit them to gain leverage. If you open up about your past, they will not weaponize it against you in future arguments. If you place your trust in their hands, they will not treat that gift carelessly. That is what protection actually looks like. True love guards your heart through honesty, because dishonesty wounds far deeper than most people realize. Secrets erode trust. Mixed signals breed confusion. Broken promises breed fear. So a person who loves you will strive to remain clear, truthful, and accountable. They will not leave you tangled in emotional uncertainty. They will not contradict their own words with their actions repeatedly. They will not offer warmth one day and coldness the next without any explanation, because they understand your heart deserves stability. True love guards your heart by honoring your emotions. It never responds with, "Why are you overreacting?" It asks instead, "What happened that hurt you this much?" It never dismisses your pain as dramatic. It listens. It cares. It attempts to make things right. This matters deeply because most people are not searching for a flawless partner. They are searching for a safe one, somewhere they can speak freely without fear, somewhere they can cry without shame. somewhere they can be completely honest without being punished for it. A person who genuinely loves you will never take pleasure in your suffering. They will never feel triumphant when you beg for their attention. They will never manufacture insecurity in you just to feel powerful. That behavior is not love. That is emotional manipulation, dressed up in affectionate language. True love does not aim to break you down. True love does not aim to break you down. True love does not aim to build safety within you, so your heart can feel calm, your mind can feel at ease, and your spirit can feel genuinely respected. Finally, true love guards your heart through loyalty. Loyalty is not simply about physical presence. Loyalty is also about protecting the trust two people share. It means never doing behind someone's back what you would hide from their face. It means never entertaining outside attention that could threaten the bond. It means choosing the relationship even when temptation, pride, or anger tries to pull you away. A loyal person guards your heart because they recognize its value. They know trust takes years to build and only seconds to destroy, so they refuse to play recklessly with something so precious. Imagine your heart as a house you have slowly, carefully built over many years, brick by brick, memory by memory. Someone who genuinely loves you treats that house with the same care you did while building it. They wipe their feet before entering. They ask before rearranging the furniture of your emotions. They never slam doors just because they are frustrated in the moment. Someone who does not truly value you, on the other hand, walks through that house carelessly, leaving marks on the walls, breaking things without apology, and expecting you to repair the damage entirely on your own. Protection also shows itself in the smallest, quietest gestures. Checking in after a hard day, remembering something you mentioned only once in passing, standing up for you when others speak carelessly about you. None of these moments look dramatic from the outside, yet together they form the invisible armor that makes a heart feel genuinely safe inside a relationship. There is one more layer worth mentioning here. Real protection also includes protecting a person from themselves during their weakest moments. If you are spiraling into self-doubt, someone who truly loves you will gently remind you of your strengths instead of quietly agreeing with your worst fears about yourself. That kind of protection does not shout. It simply stays steady, offering a calm anchor exactly when you need one the most. Sign 4. Respect over romance. Romance is wonderful. Thoughtful gestures are wonderful. Sweet words feel wonderful in the moment. But romance without respect is not true love. And this is a truth many people learn only after heartbreak. It is easy to mistake grand gestures for genuine devotion. Someone might speak beautifully. Someone might shower you with gifts. Someone might post loving captions and say, "I love you," 100 times a day. But if respect is missing, all of that romance quickly turns hollow. Respect matters more than romance, because respect is the actual foundation. Romance can make your heart flutter for an evening, but respect gives you peace that lasts for years. Romance can spark excitement, but respect creates safety. A relationship simply cannot survive on romantic words alone. It needs respect woven into everyday behavior. Respect means someone truly listens when you speak. Respect means someone never insults you during an argument. Respect means someone never humiliates you in front of others. Respect means someone honors your boundaries, your time, your opinions, and your dreams. True love never disrespects you and then papers over it with a bouquet of flowers. It never wounds you deeply and expects one sweet message to erase everything. It never ignores your feelings for days and then acts surprised that you're upset. Respect must be consistent, not occasional. If someone is affectionate in public, yet cruel behind closed doors, that is not true love. If someone's words are sweet, but their actions leave you feeling worthless, that is not true love either. Real character shows itself in difficult moments, not comfortable ones. During an argument, do they attack you with words, or do they stay respectful even while upset? When you say no, do they honor it, or do they pressure you? When you share a dream, do they support it, or do they mock it? These small, quiet moments reveal far more truth than any romantic gesture ever could, because respect is tested precisely when emotions run highest. So remember this: do not measure love by how poetic someone's words sound. Measure it by how they treat you when no one else is watching. Choose the person who respects your boundaries over the person who simply says the prettiest things. Romance is the decoration. Respect is the foundation. And a beautifully decorated house built on a weak foundation will still eventually collapse. There is a simple test you can apply to almost any relationship. Watch how a person behaves when something does not go their way. Watch how they speak to waiters, to strangers, to people who cannot benefit them in any way. Watch how they react during small frustrations, like traffic, delays, or minor mistakes. These ordinary moments reveal far more about a person's true character than any romantic gesture ever will. Because anyone can be charming for a single evening, but very few people can remain respectful for a lifetime. Respect over romance is not a rejection of romance itself. It simply means romance should be the beautiful frosting on top of a cake that is already solid, warm, and nourishing underneath. It also helps to remember that respect is a two-way responsibility, not something only one partner should be offering. In the healthiest relationships, both people hold themselves accountable to the same standard. Both people apologize when they are wrong. Both people listen when boundaries are stated clearly. Respect that flows in only one direction eventually turns into quiet resentment, even if romance continues on the surface. So while you evaluate whether someone respects you, also ask honestly whether you are offering that same respect in return. Because true love is always built by two people, not one. Sign 5. True love tells the truth. Our fifth sign is honesty. And this may be the single strongest sign of authentic love, because love cannot flourish in an environment built on lies. Love requires truth. It requires transparency. It requires the courage to say difficult things even when silence would be far easier. A person who genuinely loves you will not leave you in the dark. They will not hide important truths from you again and again. They will not construct a false version of themselves simply to keep you attached to a fantasy. Honesty is not only about massive confessions. Honesty lives in small daily choices. Being truthful about your feelings, your intentions, your mistakes, and even your limitations. This matters because ambiguity in love is quietly devastating. When someone is not honest, you begin overthinking everything. You start wondering, do they actually care? Why do their words never match their actions? Why does something always feel off? That constant uncertainty slowly drains your peace. Genuine love should never turn your life into a daily puzzle you're forced to solve. Genuine love should never leave you questioning your own worth over and over. Honesty offers safety. Even when the truth stings, at least you know exactly where you stand. You can build something real on a foundation of truth, whereas nothing lasting can ever be built on a foundation of lies. A single lie doesn't just conceal information, it fractures trust, and trust is one of love's most essential pillars. A person who loves you sincerely understands how precious trust actually is. They refuse to gamble with it for temporary comfort. If they make a mistake, they own it. If they hurt you, they don't deny it. If something feels wrong between you, they address it directly instead of avoiding it. That is honesty, and honesty is, quite simply, a form of love. It says, I respect you enough to give you the truth, even when it's uncomfortable for both of us. But honesty must always be delivered with kindness. Some people hide behind bluntness and call it honesty, using truth as a weapon rather than a bridge. That is not love either. True love speaks hard truths gently. It says, this hurt me, not to punish, but to build understanding. It says, I need better communication, not to control, but to strengthen the bond. Real love faces problems directly instead of burying them, because real love understands this. Love without honesty is only emotion without a foundation, and nothing without a foundation can stand for long. Honesty also protects you from something incredibly painful: false hope. False hope happens when someone gives you comforting words without any matching action, and you find yourself waiting, endlessly, for a change that never actually arrives. You keep believing a promise that was never truly meant to be kept. True love refuses to leave you suspended in that kind of uncertainty. It gives clear intentions. It gives visible effort. It gives answers instead of endless silence. A person who genuinely loves you will never enjoy keeping you guessing, because they understand that clarity, even when it is difficult to hear, is always a form of respect. Honesty, at its core, is simply love refusing to hide. Think about honesty as the light inside a house at night. When the lights are on, you can see every corner clearly, even the messy, imperfect parts. And somehow, that feels far less frightening than standing in complete darkness, imagining shapes that might not even be there. Dishonesty forces a person to live in that darkness, constantly guessing, constantly imagining the worst. Honesty simply turns the lights on. It may reveal imperfections, but at least those imperfections can finally be seen clearly, understood, and worked through together, instead of feared in silence. Even small, seemingly harmless white lies can quietly erode a relationship over time, because once a person catches even one convenient lie, they naturally begin questioning everything else that was ever said before it. Trust does not usually collapse all at once. It usually erodes slowly, one small inconsistency at a time, until one day, it simply is not there anymore. This is exactly why true love treats even minor honesty with the same seriousness as major honesty, understanding that consistency, more than perfection, is what keeps trust alive over the years. Sign 6. True love listens with the heart. Our sixth sign is something people often overlook: active listening. True love listens not merely with ears but with full attention, patience, and care. Many people hear words without truly listening to them. They interrupt. They get defensive. They shift the conversation before understanding what was actually said. That is not real listening. That is simply waiting for a turn to speak. Active listening means being genuinely present with someone. It means looking at them, absorbing their words, asking thoughtful questions, and never making them regret opening up. This matters immensely in love, because every human being longs to feel truly heard. When someone listens to you with genuine care, your heart relaxes. You feel safe enough to be completely honest. You feel like your emotions are welcome rather than burdensome. True love listens during your happiest moments, your small victories, your silly stories, your exciting plans. But true love also listens during the hardest moments, And this is where its authenticity is truly revealed. When you're hurting, do they lean in to understand, or do they immediately get defensive? When you say, "That comment upset me," do they dismiss it as overreaction, or do they gently ask, "Tell me more, I want to understand"? That single difference reshapes an entire relationship. Active listening doesn't require constant agreement. Two people can listen to each other respectfully while still holding different opinions. What matters is that neither person attacks, mocks, or dismisses the other's feelings simply to win an argument. This kind of listening dramatically reduces misunderstanding because so many arguments stem from assumption rather than truth. When you slow down and truly listen, you often discover the real issue was never anger. It was hurt. It was never silence. It was fear. It was never attitude. It was the simple ache of feeling unseen. True love creates an environment where you never feel afraid to speak your mind. You should never think, "If I say this honestly, they'll explode," or "If I share how I feel, they'll walk away." Genuine emotional safety means you can express your fears and needs, and the other person receives them with maturity, patience, and care. Not perfection, but genuine willingness to understand and grow. This kind of listening also builds real emotional intimacy, the feeling of being truly known, not just physically close. It's found in the small things. Noticing when someone's voice sounds a little different, asking, "Are you really okay?" and meaning it. Remembering the small details that matter to them. Because love isn't only expressed through romantic gestures. Love is also expressed through quiet attention, the willingness to sit, to listen, and to make someone feel a little less alone in the world. Many people carry invisible pain simply because nobody around them ever truly listens. They smile in public while quietly struggling in private, and over time, they slowly stop expecting anyone to notice. So when someone finally listens to them with genuine care, it feels like a kind of relief they did not even know they were searching for. It becomes a resting place for the heart, a space where a person no longer has to perform strength every single second. This is precisely why active listening can repair relationships that seem broken beyond hope. It is rarely the big, dramatic gestures that heal a relationship. It is usually the small, consistent decision, made again and again, to pause everything else and simply pay attention to the person in front of you. That single choice, repeated daily, quietly builds the kind of trust that no amount of romance alone could ever create. Notice also how active listening changes the entire tone of an argument. Two people who refuse to listen simply talk over one another, each one waiting for a pause just long enough to insert their own point. But two people who genuinely listen slow the entire conversation down. They ask, "Did I understand that correctly?" They repeat back what they heard, just to be certain. They give each other room to finish a thought without interruption. Arguments handled this way rarely end in resentment. Instead, they tend to end in a strange, quiet closeness, because both people walked away feeling heard rather than defeated. Sign 7. True love fuels your growth. Our final sign might be the most powerful of them all. True love actively supports your growth. Real love never wants to keep you small, dependent, or stagnant. It never grows jealous of your progress. Instead, it wants to watch you evolve into someone stronger, wiser, and more confident with every passing year. Many people misunderstand this concept entirely. They assume love means staying exactly the same forever, or sacrificing every personal ambition just to keep another person comfortable. But true love never demands that you abandon yourself. It helps you discover yourself more fully. It hands you courage to pursue new goals. It gives you the confidence to chase dreams that once felt impossible. A person who loves you sincerely will never resent your evolution. They won't guilt trip you for improving your life, mock your ambitions, or hold you back while you're trying to rise. Instead, they'll say, "I believe in you. Keep pushing forward. I'm proud of the effort you're putting in. How can I help?" These words might sound simple, but they carry enormous weight, because sometimes one person's belief in you can restore the confidence you temporarily lost in yourself. True love understands that growth is simply part of being human. Dreams expand, mindsets shift, confidence strengthens over time, and a healthy relationship evolves right alongside that change instead of resisting it. If love is genuine, it never fears your progress, it celebrates it. It never competes with your success, it champions it. This distinction matters because some people only feel comfortable when you remain dependent, quiet, or unsure of your worth. The moment you begin setting boundaries, they call you distant. The moment you begin chasing your dreams, they accuse you of drifting away. But true love does the opposite entirely. True love says, "Grow, and I'll grow right alongside you." True love supports your education, your healing, your confidence, and your sense of purpose. For example, if you're learning a new language like English right now, true love never mocks your mistakes or makes you feel embarrassed for trying. It encourages your practice. It reminds you that mistakes are simply proof that you're learning. That is love in action. But supporting growth doesn't mean blind agreement with everything you do. Sometimes true love gently corrects you. Sometimes it says, "I think you're capable of more than this," or "This particular habit isn't serving you well." Yet it delivers these truths with warmth, not humiliation. It guides rather than controls. It protects your confidence instead of tearing it down repeatedly, refusing to compare you unfavorably to others, or dwell endlessly on past failures. And finally, true love supports healing. If you carry old wounds, true love never weaponizes them against you. It never rushes your healing or mocks how long it's taking. It simply offers patience, kindness, and emotional safety, understanding that some wounds heal slowly and gently, not overnight. Still, true love cannot do all the healing work for you. You must also choose growth for yourself, because true love isn't two people rescuing each other from life's difficulties. True love is two people walking forward together, each becoming stronger, wiser, and more whole, side by side. Picture two trees planted close together in the same soil. Their branches may lean toward one another. Their roots may intertwine beneath the surface. Yet each tree still grows upward, according to its own strength, reaching for its own share of sunlight. Neither tree demands that the other stop growing simply to remain comfortable. That is exactly the picture of a relationship rooted in true love. Two individuals, growing side by side, occasionally leaning on one another, but never stunting one another's growth out of fear or insecurity. Real growth-supporting love also shows up in the language two people use with each other. Instead of, "Why do you always want more?" it says, "What do you need from me to get there?" Instead of, "You're changing too much," it says, "I'm proud of who you're becoming." These small shifts in language create an entirely different emotional climate, one where ambition feels safe rather than threatening, and where both people can pursue their fullest potential without ever feeling like they must choose between love and their own future. This kind of support also becomes especially visible during setbacks, not only during victories. Anyone can celebrate a promotion or a success story, but real love shows itself just as strongly after a failed attempt, a rejected application, or a difficult month. Instead of saying, "I told you this wouldn't work," true love says, "This didn't work out, but I still believe in what you're building." That single sentence, offered at the right moment, can be the difference between someone giving up entirely and someone finding the courage to try again. Ask yourself honestly, when you succeed at something meaningful, who is the first person you want to tell? If that person's reaction fills you with more confidence rather than less, if their pride in you feels genuine rather than forced, that is a strong indication that your relationship is rooted in the kind of love that wants to see you rise, not the kind that quietly hopes you stay exactly where you are. Closing thoughts. So there you have it. 7 honest, meaningful signs of what true love actually looks like. Freedom instead of control. Healthy concern instead of possessive fear. Genuine protection of your heart. Respect that outlasts romance. Honesty that never wavers. Listening that comes from the heart. And a love that celebrates your growth rather than fearing it. True love is never just a beautiful sentence whispered in a quiet moment. True love is a pattern of behavior, repeated daily, through honesty, patience, respect, and genuine care. Real love doesn't diminish you. It strengthens you. It doesn't confuse you. It gives you clarity. It doesn't trap you. It sets you free while standing right beside you. Take a moment, right now, and think honestly about the relationships in your own life. Not only romantic ones, but friendships and family bonds as well. Ask yourself which of these 7 signs are already present, and which ones might still need a little more attention and care. Love, in any form, grows stronger the moment we start paying attention to it with honesty instead of assumption. And remember, no relationship perfectly embodies all 7 signs every single day. What matters is the overall direction. Whether the relationship is slowly moving toward more freedom, more honesty, and more respect, or slowly drifting toward more fear, more silence, and more control. Direction tells you far more about the future of a relationship than any single perfect moment ever could. If this lesson resonated with you, come join our growing community here at Wisdomloom English. We explore powerful, real-life topics like this every single week, while helping you build stronger, more confident English along the way. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss a single lesson, and I'll see you again very soon, right here on Wisdomloom English.